Kentucky Congressman and House Oversight Chairman James Comer. Congressman, good morning to you. Not the response I think we were expecting from some of those media outlets. What did you make of Biden's performance last night?
Well, the American people got to see what we've been seeing in Congress for 2 years now. A president that's in mental decline, a president that doesn't have the ability to fulfill the job responsibilities for the remainder of his term, much less for an additional 4 years after that. And I think what the American people got to see is that the mainstream media, who have constantly been writing stories talking about how he does push-ups every morning, that he's the sharpest guy in the room and all this. This is another lie that the mainstream media has been caught in, just like the lie about the laptop, just like the lie about there being no evidence of Biden family corruption. I mean, this is something the American people got to see in real time last night, and I think it's very damaging to the Biden campaign. And I've seen a few Democrats in the hall walking to do this interview this morning. They wouldn't even make eye contact with me. They don't know what to do. They are in panic mode. Not only are they worried about losing the presidency, they're worried about losing the House. They're worried about losing governor's races. I mean, this is a full-blown disaster for the Democrat Party.
Yeah, this seems to have a trickle effect, and we don't have the numbers yet, but it's expected that more than 100 million people tuned in to see the debate last night. No possibility of editing or cheap fakes. We all saw it. We've seen how the media has been hitting that panic button this morning. And you mentioned your Democratic colleagues panicking as well. Is there a movement to replace Joe Biden at the top of the ticket?
There will be a movement. I mean, you saw that last night. The mainstream media have been defending Joe Biden endlessly for 4 years. I didn't see a single Democrat operative that is employed by the mainstream media, whether it be CNN, MSNBC, or anyone, defend Joe Biden. Every single one of them either called for Joe Biden to be replaced on the ballot or hinted that Joe Biden should be replaced on the ballot. But the problem is that the only way that's going to happen is if Joe Biden himself steps down. Okay, they can't do it. This isn't like the 1960s when you would have brokered conventions and all of that. The Democrats made their bed, and they're going to have to lie in it with Joe Biden. The fact that if Joe Biden did step down, the reality is that I don't think the Democrat Party could ever agree on a candidate. Look what happened to the House Republicans when those 8 Republicans joined with all the Democrats to get rid of Kevin McCarthy. It took over 3 weeks to come up with a consensus candidate. I don't think the Democrats can do that in 3 days in Chicago. So I think the Democrats are going to have to stick with Joe Biden. They're going to have to go back to trying to weaponize the courts. But there aren't enough courtrooms in America. There aren't enough dirty cops. There aren't enough dirty deep state bureaucrats to try to come in and have election interference to save Joe Biden's candidacy.
Yeah, Congressman, there's been all this talk over the last day or so of, will he step down? Who will be his replacement? But do Republicans want him to stay in, or do they want him to get out?
Well, I would prefer that he stayed in. Look, they didn't even get to the part about the corrupt family. And, one thing that Scott Jennings, the CNN moderator, who's from my district, ironically, said last night that his family had a lot of explaining to do. I agree with that. And I think one reason his family, who know very well that he's not able to carry on this term, much less 4 additional years as the commander-in-chief, one reason they want him in the race is because they're all in trouble. Joe Biden's son is in trouble. His children, his daughter, there's very little that's ever written about her. I mean, they are constantly in trouble. His brother just got criminal referrals. His other brother is a ticking time bomb. I mean, this family has been influence peddling with our adversaries around the world for decades. The mainstream media, the Democrat operatives have been getting their backs. But now, they're at a crossroads. And I just think the family wants to keep him in at all costs. They don't care about the future of America. They don't care about the fact that he's, not able to do the job. And the question remains, who's actually calling the shots at the White House? And I think that's the number one concern every American has today. Who's really calling the shots? Because it's not Joe Biden. And the American people saw that last night.